Welcome to Seaside Quilting Tutorials. Today I just have a quick tip for you for doing a pleated ruffle without a ruffler. I know quite often the rufflers look complicated and they're very expensive to purchase for sewing machines. Some sewing machines, older ones, may not have the capability of having a ruffler. So then how do you go ahead and make a ruffle? So I wanted to share with you a type of ruffle that I used to do back when I didn't have a ruffler, and I just simply use a regular old fork. Now you can get forks in different sizes, like you can get the 3-prong forks that typically you use for like olive dishes or pickle dishes, stuff like that. And it will make a little less wider of a ruffle. And you can even get some wider forks. And you can probably find them fairly inexpensive places. I would even maybe check at Goodwill and whatnot. I find that the length of the handle, if it's shorter, it helps me. But you definitely could just use a regular old longer fork. It would be just fine. So my stitch, I'm doing it about 1/2 inch down from the top. And so let's go ahead and make a ruffle. So I hold my fork so that it's backwards to me. And I just stick the top prong in. And then I flip, I adjust my fork to where I need it to be, away from the previous fabric. And you can slip it back and forth until you get it adjusted where you want it, how wide you want your ruffle to be. And then I lay it up against the ruffle that I've done previously. And then I stitch about halfway across my ruffle. And it does take a little bit of practice getting used to doing it. But I just use some scraps and practice away. And sometimes I still do this because getting out my ruffler and setting it all up, if I'm just doing a small ruffle, it's kind of unnecessary, even though I do have one. So I'm just going to do a little bit here so that you can see the end result. Now once you've gone ahead and you've made your ruffle, you just go ahead and proceed with whatever you're making the ruffle for. So this is nice on an item like this. This will end up being a little child's skirt. Let me bring the camera over here so that I can show you a little bit better. And as you can see, you've got a nice little ruffle. And once this is put together with a little zipper in the back, it'll be a little child's skirt. And I think that's just adorable. So anyways, that's the quick trick for today. Ah, my goodness. And I haven't even been doing a lot of sewing yet. So you can see that my pleats for my ruffle are a little bit further apart. I didn't want a very tight pleat on here. I definitely could lift my foot and bring them in even closer to each other so that they're not as far apart, and you would get even more ruffling in there. So it just depends on how far apart you place your pleats away from each other. And you can do that all with the fork. You can just lift your foot and just sew just a little ways into your ruffle. Lift your foot and then place it next to it, and just try to keep a consistent distance away from each of your pleats, and it will ruffle even more. And I just find this is easier than trying to baste it and pull the threads through. It's even a lot of times easier than putting my ruffler on. And I think that's going to make a cute little children's skirt. Okay, well, happy sewing.